ぜひお願いします。
はい。My name is Ichiro. My family name is Kawaii, but I'm not really pretty at this age. I wish I could speak French. I tried to learn French before, but it was a bit too difficult for me. So let me allow to speak in English for now. I ran my accounting office for 12 years. Before that, I used to work in an accounting firm. I was doing audit, working with big corporations. After I started my own business, my clients are like individuals like you and small corporations, and some of them are subsidiaries of French companies as well. Yes.
Should I translate that just in case?
Sorry?
Should I translate that just in case? Vous avez suivi jusque-là, ça va? I'm not going to translate. Go ahead.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yes, and yes. So just to make my presentation useful, if I could ask what you're doing in terms of if you're freelancers or if you're running a companies, because the tax rules are a little bit different.
Okay, so let's do it easily. How many of you are freelancers?
A lot.
And how many work for a company?
Okay.
But you may go freelance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you doing? Like designers or writers? Like teaching French?
Illustrator.
Illustrators. Okay.
Wait, let's do.
Musicien, interprète,
Musician, translator, interpreter.
Translators, yeah.
Illustrator.
And musician.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
Guide.
tour guide.
Tour guide. Mm-hmm.
Two.
Tourist guides, yeah.
video production.
Video production. Like Robin.
Like Robin.
Robin's line.
Photographer, yes.
And IT as well.
Okay.
Software developer.
Software developer as well, yeah.
Journalist.
Journalist,
Yes.
yeah. Coffee shop, nice.
Journalist.
I love French coffee.
So, variety.
Variety of people, yes. And are there people here who provide services to overseas clients? For example, like if you send photos to overseas clients, like illustrations. Okay, so there's some differences in tax rules, so I'll go through the subject.
Si vous avez des clients outre-mer, il y a des règlements qui sont un peu différents, donc il va couvrir ça aussi. Vous viennent comprendre qu'on a des clients outre-mer.
Because if you have a client overseas, you don't need to collect consumption tax. That's one of the subjects that I'm going to cover. And because you're paying consumption tax is like VAT, TAV in France.
Vous comprenez que si vous avez des clients outre-mer, vous n'êtes pas obligé, vous ne devez pas leur charger le chauvisé.
Quand tu dis outre-mer, c'est l'étranger.
À l'étranger, pardon. Qu'est-ce que je dis?
L'outre-mer, c'est un peu différent.
Oui, l'outre-mer.
C'est des étrangers.
C'est québécois?
Voilà, ça va être ça. C'est dom-tom.
Okay, so if you provide services overseas to overseas clients, maybe you'll benefit by filing consumption tax. That is something that I will cover here as well. Okay.
Si vous avez des clients outre-mer, vous pouvez garder ce que vous auriez dû payer au gouvernement. Il va expliquer plus tard.
À l'étranger.
Yes.
Oui, à l'étranger.
And also someone mentioned that who is running a coffee shop now, yeah? You may benefit by filing consumption tax as well, instead of not filing, because that will I also cover in this presentation. Okay. So it's about tax information, general tax information for freelancers today. I'll cover a basic information first. The fiscal year for individuals, it's automatically a calendar year. It starts from January to December. Not like a company. You cannot choose any period, like starting from April 1st to March 31st. It's always January 1st to December 31st.
Si vous n'avez pas compris, vous levez la main. Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
I understand that in the UK, there's automatic tax period from April 6th to April 5th in the next year. I don't think France has that system. It's presumed that it's January to December. Yeah. Okay. So even though if you start your business in the middle of the year, you are supposed to file all the revenues from January 1st to December 31st. And when you start your business, you are supposed to submit a form to the tax office within 2 months. Two things to submit. One is a notification that you start your business. This is kind of like normal, and even though you miss it, no much penalties on it. But there's another form called blue tax color form. By filing the form, you can be blue. There's a two styles, blue and white, and by becoming blue, there's many benefits. So,
Je vais expliquer. Il y a deux façons d'envoyer ces rapports d'impôts. Il y a ce qu'on appelle la formule bleue, c'est un peu comme si vous étiez une entreprise. Il y a la formule blanche, c'est ce que les individus en général envoient comme rapport de taxes au gouvernement japonais. Il va expliquer la différence entre les deux.
Okay. And deadline to file your tax return, it's always March 15th. If the March 15th is a Sunday, it's going to be the next day, but it's always March 15th.
C'est la date limite.
Yeah. And if you miss the deadlines, there's a penalty of the 10% of the tax you have to pay, so you need to be careful. And if the tax is higher, like if your tax is more than 500,000 yen, the penalty will be 15%. So this has to be recommendably met. Yeah. Then how to calculate taxable income? So it's very basic. Taxable income is just you include your revenue and all the expenses, and if you're blue, as I mentioned, you can deduct 650,000 yen. It's automatic expense, so it's definitely recommendable. And also, you can deduct other things as well. For example, medical expenses, the health insurance, etc. The biggest one is a dependence deductions. It's 380,000 yen per person, and if you have parents living overseas, that can be included as your dependents as well.
But they can't be working.
They have to have a income less than 1,030,000 yen. It's about 1 million yen. Yeah.
1 year.
1 year. 1 year. I had a client. He comes from Ethiopia, and he was running a restaurant here, and he claimed all the relatives, like 18 relatives or something, like nephews. But I think it's kind of like reasonable because he was running restaurants in Japan, and he makes some money and sends, I don't know, 2 million yen or 3 million yen to his home country, and 3 million yen is big enough to support big families. And by claiming 20 dependents, it means 7,600,000 yen. So most of your income will be cleared.
Vous avez tous compris jusqu'à là? D'abord, si on remplit la formule bleue à Oshikoku, vous avez une déduction de base de 650 000 yens. Ça, on la passe sur la formule blanche. Et on peut déclarer 350 000 yens par dépendant qui n'a pas plus de 1 million à peu près de yens par année, de revenus par année. Et même s'ils sont outre-mer, par exemple vos parents en France, s'ils n'ont pas gagnent rien, vous pouvez les déclarer ici pour les déduire de vos impôts ici.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
questions.
So, about the dependence, how do you prove that they don't?
Okay, it's a good question actually. There are several ways, but the easiest way is a credit card statements. If your family use your credit cards, they can count it as well. They can count it as well. For example, like in your credit card statements, your family uses your credit card to buy like groceries or foods, etc. That will prove that they are depending on you. And also, if you can prove that you transfer the money overseas, that also counts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Une autre question?
Yep.
Yes, like now, I'm working with my husband who is a musician.
Yeah.
So if we are both freelance, is it better that one is freelance and the other is dependent, or?
That's it depends on income, of course, but because everyone has 380,000 deductions. I mean, it means you yourself count one deduction, one head count for deduction, 380,000 yen. So, for example, so you and your husband count two head counts, meaning you have 760,000 deductions. 760,000
Yen.
deductible from your income. So
More if it's blue? More if one of them is blue?
it doesn't matter. It
Oh, I
doesn't
see.
matter. So if you claim yourself if you claim yourself as independent, you can deduct 380,000 from your income, and you can use another 380,000 yen from your salary, from your income, if you count your husband as your dependent, or he can use his 380,000 from his income. So it's kind of like the total deduction is the same. Sorry, I'm not clear.
Ça arrive même, parce que lui, de son côté, il peut avoir ses déductions,
C'est
toi,
vrai.
tu peux l'avoir.
So if one of them is earning less than 1,000,000 yen in a year, then it's better for them?
Yeah.
So if your husband gets most of the income, or you, doesn't matter, and the other person in the couple earns, you make sure that the other person in the couple earns less, then the other can be the dependent, instead of splitting everything 50-50. If you can keep one of you under 1,000,000 yen in a year, then that person becomes the dependent of the other, depends on the other.
What everything we get when we work together is
Yeah.
better to put it on one people than split it in two.
Okay. I think in general situation, it's better to spread over, because for example, because the Japanese tax rate is progressive. It's 5% up to 2 million yen, then tax rate goes up to 10% up to 3 million roughly, and then it goes to 20%, then goes to 30%, etc. So if your couple has, let's say, 10 million yen in total, if you put 10 million yen into one person, this person will belong to 40% tax bracket. But if you split, you may be
Never
able to stay in. But I think the general idea, because it's progressive tax rate, so by spreading your income equally to each, I think you can remain on a lower tax bracket, meaning lower tax rate.
But if we split, so my husband won't be dependent, right?
Right.
So we cannot remove the 380,000, right, anymore.
Right. That's right. Maybe the best scenario is that you put 380,000 in income to your husband, for example, so that he can be still dependent because he has own 380,000 deductions, and his taxable income will become zero. Then he will be able to be your dependent. Then you can deduct 380,000 plus another 380,000 as dependent deductions. Sorry, I said, I think she's asking very good questions. By using very special situations, like if you claim that your husband earns only 380,000 yen, his taxable income will be zero. So he can still be your dependent as well. So he can use 380, and you can use your own 380 plus dependent deduction, another 380,000. So 3 times of 380,000 is about 1,040,000 yen will be free of tax.
So try to make sure one of you earns less, receives less provable 380,000 yen in a year. Then it's to your advantage. It doesn't matter which one. But one thing that came out of Sensei's explanation is that in Japan, the woman controls the finances, the wife.
This is a very extreme situation, but let's say the total income is 1 million yen. So you split the income to your husband, 350, let's say. And you will take 650 because he has his own deduction of 380,000 yen. So his taxable income will be zero. Meaning he can be your dependent. So you can deduct your own 380,000 yen plus you can claim him as your dependent 350. So your income will be zero, taxable income will be zero as well. So it's,
I don't understand why you can claim 2 times.
it's miracle.
Can you also add the blue thing?
Yeah.
If you are blue, so it's better both are freelance then, because then they have also the blue
Right.
deduction, right? If the husband is only dependent, he won't have the blue deduction.
Right.
Right?
Non, les individus bleus.
So then
C'est
it's
comme une
better-
société. C'est pas une société.
Yeah, it's better both are.
Very good question, and I'm so very clever.
I don't know.
Very clever. It's very good idea, and I don't know the answer yet. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's not right. If you claim blue deductions, meaning you have enough income, so you may not be able to be someone's dependent.
Oh, okay.
That I need to double check. I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay.
It's kind of like an extreme situation. I've never had.
I have a question. I have a question. You suggested to claim not 380,000 exactly. You said 350,000. If someone claims 380,000 exactly, does it look suspicious to the tax people? Is that why you put 350?
No. 380 is fine.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And just for your information, individuals are very difficult to get tax audit. So you don't. I cannot say that, but you don't. But you can kind of relax. If your company, even a one-man company who has only one director, but company has more chance to get tax audit. But you have also more chance to claim expenses. For example, like mobile phone. If you're a freelancer, maybe you can claim 90% of your mobile phone, but not 100%. But if it's a company, it's under company's name, so you can claim 100%. Also like parking. If you own a car and you claim that you use a car for like video shooting or need to carry a camera, but still I think 80% is the maximum.
What about rent?
Rent. It's prorated basis on a space. For example, if you have 2 rooms and if you say that one room is only used for business, you can claim that percentage of the rent.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
accrual base?
Accrued base.
Accrual base is a, when you provide illustrations or like your products and you receive money a month later, your revenue counts when you provide service. Yeah.
It's very important. In Japan, it's not how much money. Je vais le dire en français. Au Japon, c'est pas le montant qu'on vous a payé pendant l'année. Si vous avez complété un travail à la fin de votre année fiscale et vous n'êtes pas encore payé, il faut que vous le déclariez quand même. Et si vous n'êtes pas payé, ça devient un déficit l'année après. Mais c'est pas l'argent que vous gagnez, c'est ça accrued. I'm explaining about it. No him, basically.
Le terme français, c'est provision.
Provision, merci.
Ouais, c'est provision.
Okay, there's a word in French.
For example, how to say, intellectual jobs, not like selling things. Like if you provide like services, it's very difficult to tell when the service is completed.
That's true.
So there's a room to maneuver.
Sorry.
Yeah. So.
Go ahead.
Please.
Oh, really?
Ladies
Thank
first.
you. Regarding the rent, what about if we are actually working at home? Does that work or is it illegal?
Oh, no problem. Yes.
Okay, so we can still try to get that out of the taxes, right?
Of course.
Okay.
A percentage. A percentage of your house that is used for work.
Yeah. For example, you can claim also like electricities, waters, gas as well. But people usually think the gas is based on the space. So like if you have 2 rooms, maybe you can claim 50% of your electricity bill. But for water, the tax office thinks that it's more like personal. So maybe 10%, 15% is maximum. Yeah.
Workers die of thirst.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
You, but not 20 family dependents. Is it a limit or something?
No limit. So actually, you can claim.
So what does it mean, but not 20?
Sorry, I tried to joke. I mean, there's actually people who claim 20. It's my Ethiopian client, and tax office accepted. But for French, taxmen will doubt, I think, if you claim 20 dependents.
But officially, there's no limit.
No limit. Yeah.
And the second question is, how do you choose between white and blue? What are the conditions?
Okay, there's not much conditions now. Before, if you're blue, you need to have proper book to get benefits. The white, you just count, you just list revenues and expenses, and then you're okay. But nowadays, people use accounting software. So if you make entries into the accounting software, it automatically meets a condition for blue. Condition for blue is, the concept of dual entry system? Like debit expenses, credit, something like cash, bank, etc. So that's the condition, but nowadays, if you want to become blue, you can be blue. Yeah.
Already very interesting, thank you.
Okay. What can be expenses? I would say anything, basically. Almost anything, but there's a limit. The typical expenses, of course, train, taxi, meals, etc. But I have a client, and he received a tax audit, and the taxman went through all the receipts, and he found a receipt of the French restaurant on the 25th of December. And usually receipt shows the head counts, and it was 2. And the client tried to say that this was a business meeting, and the tax office asked name of the people.
It was the mayor of Tokyo!
And my client gave up. Sorry, this was my personal expense. But apart from that, most of the expenses can be claimed. Typical situations like groceries. Like if you have meeting with your possible clients in your house, possible clients, not the real clients, even possible clients, because it's kind of like soliciting your future business, that can be expense as well. But don't be too aggressive, but you can kind of, if you have any justification. I mean,
what about buying equipment, a Frigidaire? You have to buy. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, a fridge. Oh yeah, you need a fridge for having
Storage.
Yeah, you need a fridge for some
Work.
drink with clients, but maybe not 100%, maybe 30% or something. Yeah.
Thank you.
Computer.
My
Computers?
Oh yeah, definitely 100%. Yeah. My clients try to put all the receipts, and some of it shows diapers, and that was not good. But if you can provide justification, almost anything is possible. For example, like meal with your friend. If you really talk, but I know nobody knows about. If you talk about your business ideas, maybe you are asking advice from your friends. That can be also business meeting, so you can put it as an expense. Okay. I think this is kind of like things that you have questions, so if you have any questions, it's okay. Yeah.
I have had a lot of free beers in bar because the people say, oh, it's Uchiawase.
Yeah, that's that's a really typical situation when you can claim it as an expense. Yeah. And of course, like if you buy like wines or sake, beers, and that's for meeting.
What about gifts? Omiyage, ore.
Oh, definitely 100%. Yeah. And donations, that's also possible, but it has to be
100%?
I mean, you need 100% minus 2,000 yen. So, for example, like it has to be qualified organization, but like if you donate to like Red Cross, UNICEF, like 10,000 yen, so you deduct 2,000 yen from the total, but the rest can be deductible from.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I thought it was 50%. Wow.
No. It's maybe that's for company. Yeah, for individuals more generous. Okay, I think this is we talked about it. So 650,000 about blue phone. If you're blue, there are several benefits. One is like 650,000 automatic deductions. Also, if you make losses, you can carry over 3 years. If you're white, that loss will be wasted. Like for example, when you start your business, you need to buy maybe special equipment, or you need to invest heavily. You need to meet people. That loss can be carried over to the next year. So next year, when you make profit, you can offset against the losses.
But not an individual.
Oh yeah.
Oh, individuals too.
Yeah. If it's a company, 9 years.
I see.
Yeah.
On peut déduire le déficit l'année d'après si on est dans le bleu. On peut enlever le déficit qu'on a fait l'année d'avant.
Si on est dans le rouge, on déficit.
Ben, là, on a 3 ans. Là, on a 3 ans pour s'en servir. Non, sérieusement, c'est ça que l'explique. Ah, bon. C'est scandale, quoi.
Ah, okay. This is what we talked already. Yeah. So the time of booking revenue, it's always at the point of delivery, not the time when the money is paid. So if you're selling things, I have a client who sell like Japanese toys or gadgets to overseas, and because they have like shipping bills, so they can't cheat it. But for services, it's kind of vague. So unless clients accept it, you need to submit like your work twice, to report 3 times, 4 times, again and again. Then you need to realize revenue. You need to recognize revenue only at the last the submission. So it's kind of, if it's service, it's kind of vague. Withholding tax to be claimed. So if you're a freelancer, some people will be deducted 10% from your fees.
10.21.
10.21. It's about 10%, but it's 10.21%. And I think there are some engineers here. Engineers are okay, you're not subject to 10% withholding tax, but designers, writers, translators, photographers, they're all subject to 10% withholding tax. So when you issue invoice of 100,000 yen, 10,000 will be deducted and you will only get 90,000 yen. So you will not get everything. But by filing the tax return next year in March, you will get that 10% back.
Kawai-sensei, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In the old days when it was exactly 10%,
It was exactly 10%.
it was very easy for us freelancers to add 10%. We would bill 1111111, and they would deduct 11111, send it to the government, and we would put it in get it back from our taxes. But now that it's 10.21, do you have a formula for our calculating what we should charge?
Yeah. So it's you. I always try to remember as well, but you divide by 8, 9, 7, 9.
You probably just have to solve the
On
equation.
peut faire moins 10% sur moins puis 10% et ça.
Tu poses l'équation et c'est de l'équation.
Oui. Il y a un chiffre exact. Si on a ce chiffre-là, on rajoute à la somme qu'on voulait recevoir cette année-là, avant qu'on ait les retours des déclarations de taxes. Donc, si on rajoute ça, on nous paye ce qu'on avait décidé ensemble. Vous allez nous payer 100 000 yens, ben c'est parfait. Ah mais non, on va enlever 10,21%. Mais donc, au début, vous négociez pas 100 000 yens, vous négociez 100 000 yens plus le 10,21%, mais vous ne rajoutez pas 10, on déduit 10,21 et ça, c'est un peu compliqué le calcul.
Non, c'est toujours X sur, entre parenthèses, 1 plus le pourcentage. C'est toujours ça. Donc, après,
Exactement.
c'est pas très compliqué.
Bon, kantan mitai.
The interesting is that by December, you receive a slip from your customers. It's like this form, and it shows usually like your fee, 1 million, and also it shows the tax that they deducted. So you will attach this slip to your tax return and get the tax refund. The interesting thing is that even though your client don't provide this slip, you can still claim the tax that was deducted. This is just a proof, but as long as you know that the tax was deducted, of course you can claim it. And the tax office will not actually count it. So if you have like 100 slips, they don't really count. So.
Vous avez compris? Tous vos clients vous envoient en janvier ou février un formulaire qui vient de dessiner disant qu'ils ont envoyé le 10,21% de ce qu'ils vous ont payé et vous avez le droit de réclamer sur vos impôts et ça revient en partie. Et donc, il vient de dire que si vous ne recevez pas ce formulaire de vos clients, vous pouvez quand même le réclamer. Ça va.
Comment s'appelle le formulaire?
日本語で何と言うんですか、その税務署から来る。
支払い調書。
支払い
支払い調書。
支払い調書。支払いc'est paiement. 調書c'est la preuve.
It says your name here, and it says your client's name here.
So that's all the client paid for the whole year?
Yes, for the total for the year. And,
Alright.
Yeah, and be careful sometimes because sometimes your customers are not very good at summarizing numbers. So I know from my experience that some of them are.
But usually you can also receive a receipt every time you work with them, right?
Yes.
Is that different from the usual receipt?
That's the same, yes. Especially for musicians, I think event owner tends to provide this slip every time you play. But the typical situation is that if you have ongoing relationship with your event owner, they give you the total number at the end of the year.
What's important is not what you were paid, but is the extra amount, the amount that they deducted and sent to the government to show that 10.21%. You need proof of that so you can reclaim it from the government.
Yes, and you don't really need it. I mean, because sometimes your customers are not very, they may be lazy, they may be wrong in calculation. So you can claim what you think is correct.
Kawai-sensei, will you cover my number later? Because that's a new rule.
My number is a new rule, yeah. Everybody has my number already. You know that? Yeah. I think better need to go to city office to take it. Yeah.
Because Japanese clients will not pay you unless you have my number now.
It's like governments are making us slaves. It's kind of like we all have numbers that we all monitored. Yeah.
Is there any tax advantage to have this tax held by your employer? Is there any advantages, or is it simpler that at the end of the year, you put everything and you just pay the government and that's it?
I'm sorry, could you say again?
You're talking about 10% withholding tax.
10% withholding tax, yeah.
From your employer or from your customer.
Yeah.
But what is the advantage of doing that?
I think because the government thinks freelancers are lazy to file. So they want to collect the money from company side. Because it seems that, I don't know if it's true now, but I think government thinks that companies are more diligent than individuals. So they would prefer getting money from the company rather than from freelancers. Yeah.
They don't trust us.
With that system, yeah.
Just a question a bit outside of
Yeah.
the scope. The consumption tax,
Yeah.
8%, right?
Yep.
Godo Kaisha, is it also 2 years?
Yes, it depends on your paid-in capital. If your paid-in capital is less than 10 million yen, you are exempt. You don't have to claim consumption tax for first 2 years.
You're in the starting capital, right?
Starting capital.
Okay.
Yeah, starting capital. Yeah.
10 million, okay.
10 million. 10 million the criteria.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oops. Yes, consumption tax. Maybe you want to think about when you claim which date to claim as your start date for individual freelancer, because as I mentioned, freelancer its tax year is like calendar year. So if you start your business in October, you only have 2 months and next year so a month and 2 months as tax-free period. If it's a company, you have full 2 years, but if you're free individuals, because it's always calendar year to count the first 2 years for tax-free period. If you claim that you start your own business in October, you only have 2 months. If you claim that you start your own business in November, you only have a month and something for the first year. Then next year you're tax-free, but after a month, after 1 year and 2 months, you will become taxpayer. Depending on your income.
So it's smart to start your business in January or after.
If you think of consumption tax, yes. A consumption tax is. Do you have the same system in France? The consumption tax. not
Yeah,
okay.
we can have the VAT back sometimes.
Okay, yeah. VAT system, sorry, I didn't mention it here in detail, but what you have to pay as consumption tax is a 8% of what you receive and 8% of what you paid. So, as I mentioned, if you have to say, if you open a shop, your first investment may be bigger than your revenues. In that situation, you may want to be exempt. You want to be a tax filer instead of a non-tax filer, so that you get a consumption tax back. So it's not always better to choose a non-tax filer or consumption tax.
So there are two statuses you choose from. You can choose to pay consumption tax or not to pay consumption tax?
Yes, to file consumption tax or not to file consumption tax.
I see.
And for freelancers who provide like services to overseas clients, you will never receive consumption tax from overseas clients. But all the expenses you pay in Japan, it automatically includes consumption tax. Meaning, by filing consumption tax, you will always get consumption tax back. For example, like if you spend 2 million yen as an expense, and all your revenue comes from overseas. So let's say, your revenue, let's say 5 million yen. If it comes from overseas, there's no consumption tax. But if your expenses is, let's say, 2 million yen, it always includes consumption tax of 8%. So it's 160,000 yen.
Expenses in Japan.
Expenses in Japan. Meaning by filing consumption tax, you always get 160,000 yen consumption tax back. So it depends on your industry, but if you provide services to overseas, tax filer is your choice, not to stay as non-tax filer, like default status.
Le gouvernement vous renvoie le shorisei que vous avez payé au Japon. Il vous renvoie ça au compte de banque à la fin de l'année. Ben, en avril, mai à peu près. I was explaining that the government actually sends it back to your bank account after you've finished filing.
Like news agencies or translations to overseas clients, it's always export. It's counted as export of service. So.
What happens, I once heard that, what happens if they come to Japan? If, this is a situation for a lot of us, where our clients come, we don't just do something and send it overseas. Clients come to Japan, we work with them in Japan, and then they go back. I was told that we can't claim shohisei if the work was done in Japan with the client.
If the client takes the job back to overseas?
Oh, it takes the video. What about tour guides, for example?
I think tour guides count really like domestic service. But for example, like researches or like news, if that person, your customer comes to Japan to understand your like work and bring back your work to France, I think it still counts as export.
Thank you.
Okay, 3 tips to minimize your tax. I think there are much more, but just a general idea. Collect receipts as much as possible. For example, like I think you use like subways every day. You don't have to take records of all the trips.
In the old days, we had to. In the old days.
Then in the old days, you have to. But now, keep receipt of the deposit. That will work. So
you can get a printout from the subway or the JR from the trains. If you press a button, you can get it in English. It'll print out all of your travels, where you went, and how much you paid.
Right. Yes. What I do is usually
Il y a le reçu, puis il y a aussi, je viens de le faire justement, on peut faire imprimer toutes les voies qu'on a fait, trois cartes à la fois. You should do it from time to time, because that becomes your proof that you were moving around and how much you spent. You get them in the ticket machines, where you charge your card. There's another place to get, you can see your balance history or print your balance history, it says in English. And you get 3 cards at a time, so do it every once in a while.
Yeah. Mr. Goldberg is doing very well. But this is a very proper way. Shortcut is that you just keep the receipt with the 5,000 deposit something, and you keep using the card.
When you charge your card, keep the receipt.
Yes, and don't use it for shopping. Just use it for the travel. Then you're confident that you can claim 100%.
Donc le reçu pour charger votre carte, 1000 yens ou 5000 yens ou 10 000 yens, ça suffit. Moi j'ai eu des problèmes, mais il paraît que ça suffit. Moi je suis une compagnie. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and as a freelancer, you can still pay your partner a salary. In Japan, there's no concept of joint accounts. Like, I don't know if it's the concept in France, but I understand that in many countries, like couples are considered as like joint accounts, so that you can't pay your wife salary or to your husband pay salary. That's not possible. But in Japan, because they are regarded as separate individuals, you can still pay salary to your partner. And if you're blue, you can pay decent amount, you think, and if you're white, tax color status, the limit is 780,000. So also it's a benefit of blue tax color. But my recommendation is that collect receipts as much as possible, even though it's on a borderline case, because as long as you can find good justification, it's a borderline. And if it's a borderline, it's not regarded as a lie or cheating. It's a difference of understanding. So if you go a restaurant with your friend, and if you think this is somehow related to business, it's not cheating, it's business expense. So collect receipt as much as possible and decide whether you want to use it or not at the time you file your tax return.
I always write on the back of every receipt what the business was.
Right.
Because you forget later.
Yeah. And a third point, be creative, but never cheat or lie. If it's borderline, you're safe. You're not penalized anything. But if you lie, the heaviest lie is to hide your revenue. The taxman may find it, and it's very heavy penalty. But in terms of the expenses, which is on the borderline, it's okay. It's just a difference of understanding. If you hide revenue, it's obvious, and that will be very serious. It will be very serious consequences. But in terms of expenses, if it's on the borderline, you can always justify yourself. So,
Kawai-san, do your foreign clients put their money in Japanese accounts or foreign accounts or both?
Some clients prefer keeping their money in their own currency, like US dollars, maybe euros. Yeah.
Can that be a problem, or is that okay?
The problem of keeping your money in foreign currency is that if it's saved in your business account, any currency exchange gain should be recognized as revenue, and it will be taxable. If it's in your personal account, it's not taxable. But if it's in your business account, and if the value goes up, it will be taxable. So it's a good idea to have 2 bank accounts, personal bank accounts and business bank accounts. But if you have exchange gain in a business account, that will be subject to capital gain.
Are you talking about a foreign currency account in Japan, like
Yeah.
Citibank, or sending money to France? What if people send their money to an account in France and it doesn't show in Japan?
I can't answer.
Okay. Smart guy. It could be a problem.
Stupid question. When you're a freelancer, you have to open a business account? You cannot use your personal account?
Oh, so your question is whether you need to have your business account?
Whether you have to.
You have to. It's bad. It's not necessary. It's not mandatory. So you can choose. But
Okay.
sometimes, if you hire accountants, the accountant will ask a copy of the bank account, and it shows like all the personal things. Sometimes it's not something you don't like. So.
So
yeah.
the proper way is to have a business account.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you.
Good business practice.
Good business practice, yeah. Okay, and if you, when you go through the business, you may have lots of tax questions, and of course you can ask tax office, but they will not answer to you if it's a borderline questions. But they are very gentleman and kind as well. So if you go there and ask for help with prepare tax filing, they always help.
Let me explain that in French. Je disais avant de commencer, le gouvernement a un bureau en anglais dans toutes les grandes villes, surtout à Tokyo, où on peut consulter des agents sur comment remplir ces formulaires d'impôt. Et ces gens-là, il ne faut pas oublier qu'ils travaillent pour le gouvernement, pas pour vous. Donc, comme il vient d'expliquer, s'il y a une question délicate, ils ne peuvent pas répondre. Tandis qu'un comptable comme lui, il va tout expliquer pour que ce soit à votre avantage. Mais pour des gens qui ne gagnent pas beaucoup et vous ne comprenez pas le formulaire, il vous explique très, très bien et de bon cœur, comme il vient de dire, comment remplir les formulaires. Et ça ouvre un mois avant la date officielle où vous pouvez commencer à envoyer les formulaires, je pense. En tout cas, vous cherchez sur le web, puis ça se trouve facilement. Because explaining where to find the consultancy office, and it opens a month before, and they should check it out.
If my parents pay me cash, is there a risk if I put my money in a bank account?
Maybe that's a difficult question to answer. I mean, I think it's safe to put in a bank and claim all the money you receive, because if you receive the cash and put it aside, you may forget, and you may forget to report to the tax office. The tax office, if you're musicians, you know that you receive slip from your event owner. Event owner reports this slip to the tax office as well. It's kind of like a dual route. So you report to the tax office, and event owner will also report to the tax office. So they kind of like try to match what you file and against with information from the event owner. So I would say it's safe to put in a bank. Yeah.
For all of us, not to hide income if we're paid in cash?
Of course. I think that's it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions.
Freelance
Yeah.
on IFRS or on JGAAP?
JGAAP.
JGAAP?
JGAAP.
So you cannot choose.
Kind of choose. There's not much difference, I understand, between IFRS and JGAAP
For freelance, not that much.
No, not that much, yes.
No difference.
No much difference. Unless you have very sophisticated like stock options or like financial institutes, it's definitely different. Yeah.
Have a seat. I think your seat's over there. There will be more questions, I think. Il y a de l'eau. Ah, il en a pris tout à l'heure. You want something to drink?
I got it, thank you. Any other questions?
Est-ce que vous avez d'autres questions?
Yes, sir, please. 25.
Are we permitted to charge a show visa and keep it without forwarding to the tax office?
Yeah. Yes. Because from your client point of view, they never know that you're a taxpayer or not. So you can claim consumption tax always, and you can take it, even though you are not consumption tax filer.
Bon, ça c'est une question très, très importante. Si vous êtes freelance, artiste ou fournisseur de services, vous avez le droit, comme une société, de rajouter 8% de chauvisé à votre facture. Vous avez le droit. Et vous le mettez dans votre poche. Oui, vous avez le droit. Mais parfois, il y a des clients qui se fâchent parce que vous ne l'avez pas dit avant. Alors, c'est mieux de le dire avant plutôt qu'après.
Good question, actually.
If I have on my invoice,
Yeah.
if I have at the bottom tax 8%, and the client pays me and I have that 8%, does that invoice need to go to my accountant, or does that need to go? Does anybody need to?
Because you can put 8% on the invoice, but you have to pay tax on it because it's your income.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it has to go to your accountants.
The invoice or just the total amount of the invoice?
Yeah, just
the invoice itself. Does that go to the accountant? Does the accountant ever need to see the invoices, or does the accountant see just your income and your expenses?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you only need to give your accountants the gross amount, and you don't have and expenses, and maybe if you know how much withholding tax you are deducted, I think your accountants needs to know as well, because that amount will be claimed against your income tax.
Right.
Do you have to photocopy all your receipts and hand it in with the tax form?
I think it depends on the accountant, but what I would ask clients is just fill out the Excel spreadsheet and they keep all the receipts on their side, because we don't want to check all the receipts unless it's major.
How many years should freelancers keep their receipts?
You're supposed to keep it 7 years.
Thank you.
But after 3 years, your chances are very low.
Very low of getting the tax office coming to talk to you.
Right, yeah. Mandatory, it's 5 years, but if you're suspected as committing to like tax crime, then they can go back by 7 years. So usually it's only 5 years.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Sorry.
Don't.
That's a very basic question. So when you start your own business or something, well, you want to be a freelancer, you have to do Jiegyo Toru.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's the first step.
That's the first step.
Register as a business.
Yeah, register as a business and application for blue tax form. Yeah.
It's called this formula, this form?
事業開始届。
事業
開始。事業 is business 開始届。
That was the blue/white form, right?
And blue/white
In
form.
addition.
In addition, yes, two forms, yeah.
Do we freelancers, if we hire another freelancer, do we have to take 10.21% from them? We hire other people to work with us. Do we have to deduct 10.21% and send it to the government?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, because your business.
Actually, I heard, Michael, that I called the Chill city office, and they told me if my client's overseas, and if they send me some money to do the project, I don't have to take out tax because I'm managing their money for them.
Right.
So I don't have to take tax out if I pay freelancers.
Overseas?
If the client's overseas and they
I
send
see.
me money to manage the project for them, and I pay freelancers from the client's money, I don't have to take the taxes out. Is what the Chill city office told me.
Okay, you receive money from your overseas client. From overseas clients,
Yeah.
and you pay part of the money
To the crew here.
to like freelancers.
So I'm basically managing the money for the overseas client. So in that case, I don't have to take tax out when I pay the freelancers here.
Okay, so is that business under your name or their name in Japan?
It's under my name.
Under your name?
I'm managing their money for them.
Okay, I guess the answer was wrong.
That was the Chuo City Tax Office.
Chuo City Tax Office.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it government tax office or city tax office? Because city tax office is not sometimes, they're not very
About federal taxes.
City tax people is, from our point of view, kind of amateur. They don't do much job. But if you talk with national tax office and explain the situation, you may get different answer. I may not be understanding your situation correctly, but from what I understand, it seems like because you're running your business, you're running someone's business under your name, and so it's like your business, business entity. So if your business entity and if you pay freelancers, you need to take 10%. Maybe you're paying to engineers because engineers are not subject to 10%.
I'm paying video production staff.
Are they individuals or companies?
Individuals.
I guess I think it is safe to take 10% because otherwise, tax office may come to you and ask for 10% later. Yeah.
What about ward taxes? I heard that if you don't pay the ward taxes and later on you want to become a foreign resident of Japan, or you want to take a bank loan or something, and they discover you've paid your national taxes, but you haven't paid your local taxes, it can be a problem. I hope everybody knows that. Okay.
They will eventually know, right? They eventually know, and somehow they may know your bank account, so they may.
With my number now, yeah.
Especially now that we have my numbers system, so they may grab your bank accounts and take the tax out from your account. Yeah, it happens.
In the case of a kabushiki would a videographer have to withhold tax from what they were paying me if I was a registered kabushiki?
You're a registered kabushiki. Okay. It's always like company to individuals. If a company or business paying to individuals, you need to deduct 10%. But if company is paying to a company, then you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
You probably say already, but I forgot, sorry. Since what's the minimum amount of income we have to reach until having to do all these things with the taxes?
Okay, the maximum point is 380,000 yen.
So from that, 350.
Yeah, 380,000.
80, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, 380,000. It's kind of like tax free. After that, and if you're blue, it's still be tax free, but you need to report to the government to get the benefit of 650,000 deductions.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said that there are some thresholds in revenue, and then the tax is growing. Is that right?
That's correct.
Could you write it on the board just to have a visual?
Yeah. Okay.
Ça se trouve sur le web.
D'accord.
Je l'ai déjà trouvé. En anglais.
Up to 1,950,000, it's 5%. But it's all of the expenses, etc. Then 3. I need to check the internet. 20%. Then I think it was 18 million, but I need to check.
Okay,
sorry.
We can check it.
Yeah.
J'ai les chiffres ici pour le début. Sur la feuille que
So the window between 350,000 and 1,900,000, blah blah blah, is it 5% as well?
It's 5%.
Okay.
Yeah. Then if you have like 3 million yen, up to 1.9 million yen, it's 5%, and 10% only on, how to say, the portion beyond 1.9 million yen.
Wait, please say it again.
If you have a contract to do the shooting, for example, outside the country, let's say for 1 month, and you come back, so you could claim all the expenses. Even if at the end, well, basically you don't have any, you don't make any profit whatsoever. Can you do that?
So your question is if you do shooting overseas,
Yes.
and if you have expenses, and your question was
Can I deduct all of them?
if you can deduct everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you have no income, he's asking. Can you deduct it as a business expense, as general expenses or ADO or something?
Yeah. For example, if you're an employee and if you have salary, when you have salary and you're thinking of starting your own business, you can deduct your business expenses from your salary to offset. So, for example, during a year, up to June, you are an employee of a company, so you get salary, and you start from July your business, and you have many expenses. That expenses can be deducted from your salary here. Yeah, that's all.
D'autres questions?
Sorry, that's about the consumption tax. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
So the first year you're exempt of, I mean, just let's imagine you start a project, so you get zero money, but you spend a lot of money to buy all the materials. So if you declare it, you mean that they're gonna give you back 8%?
Yes. Okay, for example, in the first year, your income is only 100,000 yen, and your expense is 1 million yen.
Yes.
In that case, you need to choose as a taxpayer, because default status as an individual, you don't have to pay or you don't have to claim consumption tax. So if you don't do anything, you don't get consumption tax, but you don't have to pay, but you don't get consumption tax back. And if you think that your expense is much bigger than your revenue, you need to go to the government or submit a form. There's a form to choose to become tax filer, consumption tax filer.
What is the name?
Yeah, it's called. Little bit. My handwriting is bad, but. So it's consumption tax, tax filer, choose. Okay, choice. That's right there. Choice application.
So that's when you don't get a lot of payment at the beginning. That's better.
Yes. You need to be careful actually, because if you choose to become consumption tax filer, next year has to be consumption tax filer.
2 years in a row or forever?
Only 2 years in a row. So from the third year, you can go back to non-tax filer. But once you choose it, you need to stay as tax filer for 2 years at least. So you need to think revenue in the second year and expenses in the second year to think, which is better.
Okay, so if you think that it's gonna take you more than 3 years to get a lot of money, maybe it's good.
Yeah.
So if you reach the second year, it's not good.
Right. For example, like the typical situation is like opening up a restaurant, because if you open a restaurant, it takes big investment, and you collect the money over like several years. In that situation, maybe this one's better. Or if you provide service to overseas clients, this one's better. But usually, if you already have clients when you start your business, maybe this is not a good choice.
What about equipment? If you buy a very expensive television camera or a car or a restaurant furnishings?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. For example, if you buy a very expensive camera, for TV camera, would it cost like 3 million?
Oh yeah, easy.
And how much will be like first year's revenue for those kind of industry?
But how much can we deduct per year for how many years? That's basically what I want.
Okay, consumption tax, you claim everything. Because for consumption tax, there's no concept of depreciation.
Yeah, it's depreciation I want you to explain a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when you have this, you get 8% back from your expenses, right?
In Japan?
Roughly about a month after you file the consumption tax filing.
Yeah, but in terms of you want to get 8% back from your expenses, right?
Yeah. So yeah, for example, you pay 1 million yen as like music instrument, etc. So in March you file the consumption tax to the government, and about May you get the money back.
80,000.
80,000, yeah.
If you buy a camera that's worth 3 million yen, or a car, for example, but you don't earn very much money in that year, how many years can you depreciate? Can you use the receipt? What percentage of a large purchase can a freelancer use?
Okay, not like a company. Freelancers' depreciation is automatic. And car, I think if I remember correctly, it's 5 years or 4 years.
20% per year, approximately?
20% per year. If it's a new car, if it's second-hand car, of course, the year will be shorter. 2 years, 3 years.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you have questions.
No, so like Michael said, I think we had the problem with the fridge, the big
fridge.
It was 5 years.
I think something around that, yeah.
But I don't remember exactly, but it's not the same part every year. You can adjust.
If it's a company, you can decide how much to depreciate.
Yeah.
But for individuals, it's automatic. It's always it's called single straight line method. So if the fridge is 1 million yen and it's over 5 years, it's always 200,000. If it's a company, you can decide how much to depreciate so that you can adjust your taxable income.
And if you're a company, if the next year you don't earn a lot of money, you don't have to claim. You can wait to claim the depreciation for a number of years.
Exactly.
But not freelancers.
Correct.
We have to collect receipts, but not your social?
Officially it has to be ryōshūshō, but it's not realistic to collect ryōshūshō for convenience stores, etc. So
I can.
Yeah, you can, but unless you have very bad relationship with tax office, they will not. They're not so picky.
What is the official difference between ryōshūshō and receipt?
Ryōshūshō is better.
Yeah, so what is the official difference?
What's the difference? Name on it. It has to be so. Even if it's a receipt, if there's a name on it, it's perfect.
For the company, it's always ryōshūshō.
Yeah.
If you have your own company name, you have to put the company name on the ryōshūshō. If it's your name, it's okay.
Sometimes people, maybe it was old tradition, but we put ue. It's like.
So ue-sama is not a ryōshūshō.
Ue-sama is not. It's not legally acceptable. So if taxman finds you there, if they don't like you, they may pick that issue. But usually they don't really complain about it.
I've got a question about the ryōshūshō. We use sometimes our names or sometimes our coffee shop name.
Yeah.
But we have both ryōshūshō. Is it okay?
I think it's okay. Yes. Some people say this is not perfect, but at the end, it's a question of code. Like, if taxman says this is not good, but as long as you can prove that this is you, that's fine. Yeah.
So it's always better to put your own name than
I think so. Yeah.
If you do two things completely different in like art and guiding.
Yeah.
You know? Can you declare everything together?
Yeah.
Or you have to split to two different なんか事業開始 to
one form is enough. One form is sufficient, and actually you need to put them together because if for example like a guiding business makes profit and art business makes losses, you need to consolidate.
So I can do that. Like I get money from guiding, but I spend all of that on music. So
that would be, that would be offset. That would be net. Yeah.
Artists never make money.
If we need some advice or some help from you, how much do you charge?
Okay. If client uses us for tax filing, it's free, and if it's like a consultation, it's 10,000 yen per hour.
10,000?
10,000 yen per hour.
Okay.
That's like a standard fee. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Goldberg, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. 素晴らしかった。ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Merci infiniment.
Good luck in business.
Thank you so much. わかりやすかった。じゃあ止まります。